Hi everyone, good morning. I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it in today. So I have a lesson set up for you guys. Because of that, there actually is no warm up today. We are going to work through 14 problems, 7 of which I'm going to do, 7 you will do. And you're going to complete all of these on a separate sheet of paper. And you're going to upload all of this to Google Classroom when you're done for credit. I hope you guys are all doing well. All right, so for today, we're working on quiz 3 review. So as you know, you have quiz 3 later on this week. We're working on a review, so I've just put together a lot of practice problems for you guys. We're actually not doing these on Pear Deck since I'm not in class. Instead, you're gonna do these, like I said, on your own piece of paper and then upload them to Google Classroom. Whatever doesn't get done will be done for homework. All right. So this first type of problem, is asking what is the greatest common factor of the polynomial. So again, for each slide, there will be a I do problem, which I will complete with you. You're going to follow along in your math notebook. You're going to write it down. And then the you do problem is something that you will complete on your own time. And like I said, you're going to upload all of the completed problems, so all 14, to Google Classroom. All right, so for this first one, I'm looking at my two terms that I have. I'm going to rotate this for you a little bit. So on here, I have 14x squared minus 35x. So for this problem, I'm looking at both terms. I'm thinking of my factors. So I know that 14 can be broken down. I can multiply 7 and 7. I know 14 goes in there as well. So my factors for this one, I would say, are 7 and 14, as well as 2. So those are the numbers that go into 14. So 2, 7, and 14. For 35, I have 5, 7, and 35. Also, the number 1 goes into them, but we never want to pull that out as a greatest common factor. So these are the factors that we have. The greatest one that they have in common is 7. So I'm able to pull that out. So I'm going to go ahead and divide both of these by that GCF. So I'm going to divide them both by 7. Also keep in mind that you have x's on here. So for my first one, I have x squared. So that really means I have 2 x's there. For the second term, I have 1x. That really just means I have 1x multiplied. So the most I can pull out is 1x. Okay, I could pull out 1x from both. So I'm also going to divide by x. So my GCF in this problem is 7x. All right, this is an expression, not an equation. So my GCF sits outside 7x. Write whatever you're left with on the inside of parentheses. So for this first one, I have 14x squared minus 35x. So this is going to be 2x minus, and then 35 divided by 7 gives me 5. My x's are gone. Now, I actually factored this polynomial, and it didn't ask me to do that. It just asked me to, it asked me what is the GCF, what is the greatest common factor. So the greatest common factor is 7x. That's my solution, but I wanted to remind you and show you how to factor as well. All right, so you guys are going to try the you do problem. All right, so on the next page, we have a couple problems that I'm doing. So I'm doing 2, you're doing 2. For each of these, it's asking to simplify. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with A. So for A, you have 4 plus 2n cubed plus 5n cubed plus 2. Now, I'm adding these two polynomials together. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drop the parentheses. You don't need them when you're adding. So I'm going to add 4 plus 2n cubed plus 5n cubed plus 2. Okay, and we drop them because we can't combine anything in here. Can't combine anything in here. They're not like terms. Now I'm looking for like terms. So I can combine my powers of 3 together. I can also combine my constants together. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that. So for my powers of 3, I have 2n cubed plus 5n cubed. That gives me 7n cubed. And then 4 plus 2 gives me 6. So this is my solution for part A. For part B, we have a cubed minus 2a squared minus 3a squared minus 4a cubed. For this one, it's a little different. I actually have a minus in between, so you need to make sure that gets distributed into each of the terms in that second set of parentheses that it's right in front of. So I'm going to bring the front down. It's a cubed minus 2a squared. When you distribute that negative, it just changes the signs of everything on the inside. So that 3a squared was positive. It now turns into a negative 3a squared. The 4a cubed was negative. It now turns into a positive. So this is what we're left with. You drop your parentheses, look for like terms. So I can combine my cubes together, and then I can combine my squares together. Okay, let me go ahead and rewrite this. I'm going to combine my cubes first because they need to be written first when they're in standard form. You always start off with your highest power. So here I have 1a cubed plus 4a cubed. That gives me 5a cubed. For my terms in blue, I have negative 2 minus 3. That's going to give me negative 5 when I combine those together. Okay, and this is my final answer. Like I said, notice how both of these are in standard form. Standard form is when your highest power is first, and then you write them in descending order. All right, perfect. Let's go ahead and have you guys try the YouTube problems. So you can go ahead and pause this and try both of those. All right, so on the next page, we have multiplication of polynomials. So here I want to go ahead and multiply. I have two binomials being multiplied together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute. So for my first polynomial, I'm going to go ahead and take the first term, which is 8p, and multiply it to both terms in that second set of parentheses. So I have 8p times 6p. 6 times 8 is 48. And remember, when you multiply p's, you add the powers. These both have a power of 1. So when I add those, I get p squared. For my next term, 8p times 2. 8 times 2 is 16. And then that p doesn't have any other p to be multiplied to, so just bring that down. I'm going to do the same thing with my second term. So that second term, is going to get distributed to both on the second set of parentheses. So that negative 2 gets distributed now. So negative 2 times 6p gives me negative 12p. And then negative 2 times positive 2 gives me negative 4. All right, from here, we're going to go ahead and combine like terms. Now, I only have 2 like terms I can combine. I can combine these 2 in the middle because they both have 1p. So I'm going to go ahead and bring everything else down. I have 48p squared, bring that down. 16 minus 12 is going to give me 4p, positive 4, so it's plus 4. And then bring that minus 4 down at the end, and this is my answer. It is in standard form. The highest power is written first. This has a power of 1 technically, and this has a power of x. It's x to the power of 0. It doesn't have an x, so it's in descending order. All right, you guys are going to try the second example. Now for this one, keep in mind that it's squared. That doesn't mean you distribute that 2 in, okay? That means you have 2 of those polynomials. So it's 4p minus 1 times 4p minus 1, and then you're going to go ahead and distribute the same way I did on the top. So go ahead and finish that one up, and then, like I said, pause this video. We'll move on to the next problem. All right, for these we're determining the exact solutions. So for part A, I have x minus 2 squared plus 9 equals 25. So what we want to do is determine the exact solutions. That means nowhere in this process are you using a calculator, because a calculator may give you an approximation. So we want exact solutions. What I'm going to do is start off by isolating my square. So I'm going to go ahead and move that 9 over. So I'm going to subtract the 9 from both sides. I'm left with x minus 2 squared is equal to 25 minus 9 gives me 16. Sorry, I blanked out for a little bit. From here, what you're going to do is you want to get rid of that 2. Okay, want to get rid of this 2 outside the parentheses. So we're going to take the square root on both sides. All right, we're solving, right? We're solving for x. So that radical cancels out with that power of 2. We're left with x minus 2 on the left. On the right, we know what the square root of 16 is. That's one you should have memorized. That's going to give you 4. Okay, now you're solving and you just took a square root, so you need to have that plus or minus in the front. All right, from here, we're going to go ahead and get rid of that 2 because, again, our goal is to solve for x. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. I'm left with x is equal to, you're going to rewrite everything on the right-hand side. You want the plus or minus 4 at the end. Okay, so just leave that at the end. I'm going to stick that 2 in the front. So 2 plus or minus 4. Again, all I did was rearrange this in one single line. This is going to give me 2 solutions. So I'm going to move over to the right. Here are the 2 answers it's going to give me. It's going to give me x equals 2 plus 4. Second solution is x equals 2 minus 4. So you're going to go ahead and simplify each. Up at the top, we get x equals 6, which is one solution. Our second solution is x equals negative 2. So those are our 2 solutions for part A. Part B is very similar, only you don't have to add or subtract right away like I did up at the top. Your square is already alone, so you could start by taking the square root. Don't forget to put a plus or minus. Now, for this one, the one that you're doing, once you take that square root of 14, you're going to notice that 14 doesn't have a perfect square, so that's okay. Just leave it. Don't put it into a calculator. If you put it into a calculator, it's no longer an exact solution. It's an approximation. So instead, just leave it. Leave it as the plus or minus radical 14. Stick whatever else you get in the front, and then you can box that as your answer. Okay, so go ahead and finish that one, and then let's move on. All right, on the next page, so we have more problems where we're determining the exact solutions. So again, we want to find our roots. Now, this time we have a trinomial. We have x squared plus 8x plus 16 equals 0. What we're going to do is factor this trinomial. Okay, that's the best way to solve if you have a trinomial. So I'm going to go ahead and look for 2 numbers that multiply to 16 but add to 8. Okay, remember that before you screen this, you want to look for a GCF. I have a leading coefficient of 1, so that means I don't have a GCF. So 2 numbers that multiply to 16, add to 8, it's 4 and 4. So I'm going to go ahead and write this as linear factors, x plus 4, x plus 4. Set those equal to 0. Don't forget that equals 0. All right, now you're going to take each factor, set each factor equal to 0. X plus 4 equals 0, x plus 4 equals 0, and solve each one. You end up subtracting 4 from each side, get x equals negative 4. Again, we do the same thing on the right. You end up getting the same thing, x equals negative 4. So x equals negative 4 and x equals negative 4 are solutions. We technically only have one solution since it's the same. It ends up being a double root. We talked about double roots a long time ago. So our parabola would touch at x equals negative 4. So it's a 0 because it still makes an intersection there, but it only touches there. Okay, so that's our solution. Again, there's no need to write it twice because it's the same number. You're going to do the same thing for the next one, only be careful. You have a 5 on the right, so you want to make sure you move that over first before you factor. All right, on the next page, I think this is our last page. So you're going to find the zeros of this quadratic function. Again, we have a trinomial here. Now I'm screening this trinomial and I don't have a GCF, okay? There's no number that they can all be divisible by, so I'm going to leave it. I'm going to multiply my A with my C. I get negative 12. And then the number at the bottom is negative 12. So I'm looking for 2 numbers that multiply to negative 12 and add to negative 12. So let's think about this. So negative 12, I have 1 and, or let's just look at 12. I have 1 and 12. I have 2 and 6. I have 3 and 4. And that's it. That's all I have. Now, as I'm looking at these, there is no combination that works, okay? 1 and 12 might be the only one that looks like it might work, but there's no way these will add to a negative 12. There's no way. So I'm going to actually say this one is not possible. At least not right now. We can't do this one. You're going to try the same thing for A. Okay, so again, you have an A value that's bigger than 1. It's 5. You're going to go ahead and use your X method to go ahead and see if you can go ahead and factor this and then use the factors to solve. Okay, so go ahead and finish this one up. After this, that's it. What you're going to do is you're going to actually upload a copy. You are going to upload a copy of all your notes, but on top of that, you're going to make sure you finished all these practice problems. So there's a total of 14 that we've done together. You're going to make sure all 14 are done, and then you're going to upload those to Google Classroom. Okay, so make sure you get that done, and then you upload those to Google Classroom. If you have any questions, there will be support block today. I will not be in there. Your sub will be in there, but you can ask them questions. You can also come in on Tuesday for support block. I'll be in there on Tuesday, and then I'll be able to answer any questions before your quiz on Thursday. All right, you guys, I'll see you later. Bye.